Bam, we're live. Welcome. It's day 47. All right, let's get into it. Curious to know how many of you have watched every day. Yep, that's what it takes. All right. So, again, just to recap, if this is your first one, 47 days ago, I started the AI prompt challenge. My original intent was to just go live, and it was a personal challenge to go live on YouTube for 30 days straight. I do this every day. I study, research, and then incorporate AI into remodeling and construction contracting businesses, right? So I'm helping people every day figure out how they can run their business to eliminate the chaos, the problems, the headaches, the struggle, the stress. All right. So I'm already doing this work constantly. I thought it would be good for me to basically walk you through the process. This is what I do. So for the most part, I'm not sharing like any client's personal stories or data, but this is the research and the work that I do every day to help clients, right? So while I'm going to talk about specific niches that I work with, this data that I share, any contractor can take it and formulate it for their business, right? So I may focus on design companies one week. I may focus on kitchens, baths, basements another. Could be roofing, siding, windows, doors. Um, so understand that, it just probably is who I might be working with in the moment. And I'm like, oh, I'm putting together this for this client. I will share, the nuts and bolts behind the scenes that I'm normally doing. So where I'm going with this is I'm looking at the marketplace daily. I'm on AI uh, sites. I subscribe to newsletters, and I'm just, I get up. It's like reading the Wall Street Journal. I'm reading the AI journal essentially, and then I'm figuring out how we apply it for remodeling and contracting specifically because it's a niche that gets overlooked, right? In our industry, we don't have things like doctors and nurses. They have boards and organizations that they can join where this kind of information is put together, and they go to conferences. Realtors, they get this kind of information through the brokers that they affiliate with, right? If you get a real estate license in most states, you then have to take that license. You just can't go sell real estate traditionally. You have to then hang that license with a broker who's also licensed through the state. But in remodeling, the bar is set really low. Most of you just have to go get a license for your state. And hey, I'm a contractor. I'm a remodeler. I'm a this, I'm a that, right? And so what ends up happening is it's a disservice to you because you're not a part of any organization. You're not a part of any mastermind, and you don't see best practices, and you don't get to excel because you don't learn. And I share all this because I played soccer as a kid and I really enjoyed it, right? I delivered newspapers in a neighborhood, and I would see these kids playing soccer in a high school. It was a private school, and they had a stadium. I was like, that's pretty cool. And I would watch these guys play soccer, and I was like, man, I wonder if I could go there. I wonder if I could play soccer, right? Because I just played like in a little rec council. All right. I played on a travel team, but nothing fancy, right? My parents, we weren't driving all over the country. On Sundays, we might drive 20 minutes here or 20 minutes there. And maybe we played 2 games on a Sunday, maybe, right? Okay. But when I went to that high school, the day I showed up for tryouts, over 100 kids were there for that tryout. And right off the bat, you had to run. It was about a mile, I believe. It was around the campus of the school, and there was a timer. And I don't remember the exact time, but if you didn't make the run within a certain time, cut. So that was first thing in the morning. A lot of kids were cut within like the first probably 15 minutes. Done. See you later. Maybe next year. Then a little bit later, we would have to do sort of a sprint run where what they would have you do is start like at midfield, and you had to, run the perimeter of the field. I want to say it was like 90 seconds. I don't remember exactly. Again, if you didn't achieve that, and I didn't know these were the things, I knew we had to be running. I got some, someone had said, make sure you're running and you're in shape, but I didn't know exactly. And so boom, I was lucky. I was able to make that, but a bunch of kids, boom, cut there. I want to say 30 kids were cut within the first like couple hours, just gone. You don't show up in shape, you're not going to make it, right? It's that competitive. So think about your business. How competitive is the marketplace? A lot of you don't really even understand it, right? If you were to, if your business was to try out for the local team, if there was like a varsity team of accent wall designs and installers, would you make the cut? Would you be on the varsity? If there was, tryouts for the local basement all-star team, basement remodelers, would your company make the team? Are you that good, or are you just floundering? Because a lot of guys like to play, right? That's what I learned about soccer. Everybody likes to play soccer, but who's committed to playing soccer? And it's tough. Um, so anyhow, this is what exercises like this do. They help you get committed and see what it takes to be competitive. Look, I'm just offering ways to help you not be in a chaotic state all the time. I'm messaging somebody earlier today. They reached out to me. They barely have any money in their bank account. Now I want you to think about this. Imagine that you're doing, $1 million, $2 million a year business, and you're almost broke, like literally, just because your business, it doesn't have the consistency. You haven't quite figured it out yet. Maybe it's been 3 years and you're struggling. You just don't understand the marketplace. You don't understand, the dynamics of being a business owner. You don't understand the behind the scenes. It's fun to be the person who say, yeah, I own my own business and I'm just going to go out and wing it. But it isn't fun when you're sweating about whether you can pay bills or not. I can tell you that. So I say all that not to, I want you to hear it from a place of encouragement, in that it doesn't have to be that way. If you've been able to figure out how to generate some sales volume, well, now it's time to buckle down on the skills. You got to get your business acumen raised. Okay. You might have come in here and that's fine. We got to get you up here. And that's the reality of the world. If not, you're going to get washed out. Okay. And then you'll be back a couple years. You'll partner with somebody else. You'll start a new thing. You'll regroup. You're burnt out. We see it a lot. The average business owner, it takes about 3 fails for a lot of people. And then they come back the third time, fourth time. And that's when they say, I need to learn business development acumen. I got to have skills. I have to have frameworks. First 2 times, 3 times for some, it's all ego driven, and they work hard and they burn themselves out. It doesn't have to be that way. All right, here we are. Day 47. And if you missed last night's, that was a good one too. You got to go back and check out day 46. I'm amazed sometimes at the stuff that I'll share in these groups. All right. So I want you to think about this. A Major League Baseball team has a talent scout. Somebody is going out looking all across the world to find players. It's not like kids just show up all the time so if you run a business and you're thinking, man, it's hard to find people. Yeah, damn right it is. Who wants to do work? You got to find people, and there are people out there, but you have to go find them. They're not just going to every now and then somebody gets lucky and somebody walks in the door, right? Maybe a parent did a really good job raising a child and they go, hey, you got to go get a job. And here's how you're going to do it. You're going to drive around, you're going to visit all the business parks or this or that, and you're going to start telling them you want to work. But if you operate out of your house, or you're only in your showroom or office like 1 day a week, maybe, like, how are you going to build any relationship with people in the community? How does anyone know, hey, I want our cousin, our friend, they want to be a designer, they want to be an installer. Go talk to so and so. He's there every day. That's who you want to go talk to. If you're not plugged in like that, people don't know you. People aren't just going to show up. Okay, now there's great talent out there. This exercise tonight is all about how you go get that talent. You find it, you hunt it, you search it. That's what I did. I recognized that the people that were like in my neighborhood that wanted to work, yeah, most of them sucked. And the reason that they were available is because they were bad. If they were good employees, they would have great jobs. And do you understand that? So you got to raise your bar to find the top talent. So All right. So our goal here is we teach the remodeler, the contractor, the designer how to create an AI prompt that's going to deliver you a step-by-step action plan to scout, attract, and secure the A plus talent. Okay. Before the competitors lock them up. And for those of you that like to future pace, understand that this is half the battle, finding the talent. Then it's bringing them on board. And then you start to say, oh, thank God I got somebody. He starts on Tuesday. Well, now it's like, how long are they going to last? And then it's like, how do I protect so that no one takes them or they don't leave for another opportunity? So it's constant. But you exercise. It's like any other skill set. The more you do it, you work there. So it really requires a mindset shift. And that's what we're all about. You sit down and say, I have been thinking about the way I go about my business all wrong. I just didn't know. And that's okay that you didn't know. Now you're being enlightened, right? So you don't have the excuse. I like to, the way I explain is that there aren't a lot of like dumb people. Most people have a lot of good street sense or skills. Everyone has like skill sets that they're good at. A lot of people are just ignorant. They just don't know what they don't know. Because if they knew it, they would make different choices. So by you being here, you're getting the information so that you'll make different decisions. So anyway, stop waiting for talent to apply. Start recruiting. Act like the Yankees, right? A plus companies are built by A plus teams. And you don't leave that to chance. You got to go out and find the A plus players. All right. So why are most remodelers losing by default? It's because they don't even know where the talent hides. They don't even know how to look for it, you know? And they assume that word of mouth, like they tell somebody, yeah, we're hiring, great pay, benefits, you got to have a driver's license, pass a drug test. Yeah, I put my ad out. There ain't nobody. None of these kids today want to work. Well, not for that crappy ad, not for a company that's that bad. You see what I mean? So step one, you got to build your AI talent scouting prompt. All right. So you're going to use AI to help you with this. So you're going to put your prompt into the AI choice of preference for you. I'm a local contractor. I do this. I'm in this area. My goal is to build the A plus team of whether it's a carpenter, a sub, a project manager, a laborer, whatever, before my competitor does. Analyze my local market, create a 90-day talent acquisition plan. That includes how do I identify the top talent? Like people operating out of their garage, solar operators, subs that might have, employees that are at competitors. What suppliers, vendors, and job sites should I look to scout and how to approach? What's a weekly talent scouting routine and outreach process that I could start to deploy? How do I build a talent roster like a major league baseball team, ranking candidates as like hot, warm, cold? So I've shared with you before that at first I didn't have this, but over time I got to the place where I would have resumes, applications coming in consistently. And then we had a file, let's call it, where we organized all the people that had reached out to us looking for a job. And then we would make notes, right? So we had a talent roster. So when I needed to find someone, I didn't have to necessarily go look for them. I already had a list of, let's say, 10 or 20 people that I could just reach out to, say, hey, you had reached out to us back in X. You were looking for a position. It appears that we now have an opening. Would you still like to talk? Boom. That's how you do it. This is how you're not struggling. And if you happen to know that someone's leaving because you have great employees and they give you a heads up, you can anticipate and call and say, hey, we're going to have an opening in June. I know that so-and-so is moving out of state in March, and I've got 9. Sometimes your employees will tell you, hey, listen, here's what's happening. My wife, we just had another kid, or my son's in college. We're going to be selling our house come spring and we're moving. So I might get a year's notice that somebody's leaving the company. And that gives me time to start looking and saying, all right, who's going to replace them? Anyway. And you want to use the AI tools and automation to track conversations, organize leads, and follow up. So you make this plan realistic for a small contractor, but aggressive enough to beat out the competitors who are asleep at the wheel. Again, most of your best talent is already working for somebody in your area, and you just have to get over that. I can't tell you, there's It happens. People just they get traded. It's the best way to explain it. You'll have guys that have worked for 3 or 4 different remodelers or landscapers or concrete crews, right? Or been a kitchen installer. They've subbed here, they've worked there. It's a small marketplace the more you look at it. All right. So here's your action plan. You're gonna start looking at subs. Who do they frequently praise, right? You're gonna talk to suppliers. Ask them, who do you know that's top notch? Right? You're going to go into, if you're looking for like designers or contractors, maybe you're going to spend some time at the local box stores. I have sat in a parking lot and just looked for the people that come in and out in nice vehicles and look at who's organized, who shows up early in the morning. You can just tell who's organized, who's in the store and out real quickly. And I'll go up and just introduce myself. Hey, I noticed you. Yeah, I've seen you here before. Or hey, that's a sharp looking vehicle or whatever. What project you working on? Hey, my name's so. Yeah. Well, and you just talk to them and you find out who they are. You introduce yourself. You never know where the conversation is going to go. Maybe they don't want to move. Maybe they like, but maybe they have a friend that is looking to get into the business. That has happened for me several times. I'm talking to somebody, and the next thing they say is, my brother-in-law, my neighbor has been wanting to make a move and is looking to do something. You just have to put yourself out there. So you start your talent roster. You want to simple things you want to have a list of: their name, their role, their current employee, skills, contact information, and how, what's their situation. Scout like a pro. Check in with your vendors. Ask who the best crews are. Hey, who are the top-notch guys? Who are the guys that give you the least amount of problems? Who buys things, pays for it on time, right? Which guys have material lists that are organized and easy to follow and are friendly and polite? That's how you find good employees. They're already a good employee for another company. So you check around be looking at job sites when you're just driving around. You see a company that's working in a neighborhood, see who's working there. Social media. And then you can do something like, if you're not familiar, there's Airtable, there's Trello, there's HubSpot. So you got to have some way to track all this. And then you'll use your Chat GPT or Grok to draft an outreach and a follow-up script. And you want to do automated touch points because you want to reach out to these people. And, if you're serious, then you execute with a corporate headhunter mentality, right? So to recruit talent away from a stagnant company, you're going to find out what they're looking for. So before you share, you're talking to somebody because, hey, we're looking to grow our team. But before you go any further, you start asking them, what is it that you like about where you're working? What is it that you're looking for? What is it that maybe the current company isn't offering you? All right. Somebody might say, well, I want to move up. The current project manager has been here 10 years and he's the owner's son, and there's no room for another project manager. The company's not looking to grow. And, Billy Bob there, he's got the role. So I'm always going to have to listen to, him, and I can do a better job, but I can't at this company. That's an opportunity. That's what you're looking for. You prioritize the A+ players. Don't just settle. I'm going to tell you right now, if you're desperate, you're making a mistake. I don't care. You're almost better off sometimes if you know the person isn't top notch, just don't hire them. Be patient. All right. So you got to keep it as a routine. It's something that has to be done routine, right? You're constantly looking. You're constantly talking to people. You're putting the word out. You're putting feelers out. You just never know. Set up new accounts. If you don't have charge accounts, go in, say, hey, I'm looking. Hey, by the way, have you had anybody recently that said they're looking for a new opportunity? We're up and coming. We're growing. We're moving into this. We just started doing that. We've been known in the neighborhood for kitchens, but now we're doing baths and we're looking to add a few new installers. We need a project manager. You know anybody that's looking to make a move, to make a change? You never know. So here's the takeaway. If you don't actively recruit, your competitors will quietly stack their teams with the best talent, and AI can help hand you the playbook, but you must scout like a pro, track like a data analyst, and recruit like a corporate headhunter. So your competitors are just one great hire away from taking your next big job. So don't let them sign all the all stars, all the future all stars first. All right, guys, thanks for being here. Hope you have a great night. And bam, we're done.